There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox.
Well, good evening. Welcome to GhostBox Live. It is May 17th, 2020. My name is Greg Bach, and thank you very much for joining me tonight. So, okay, where do we even start tonight? First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining in. Thank you so much for taking part in all of this. I should be streaming right now on my own Minnesota GhostBox page. Also, we'll be streaming on Paranormal Warehouse. Streaming all over the place. So please, like Mr. John has done, please say hello. I'd love to hear from everybody as we do this tonight. And shall we get started, right? I mean, this is kind of how it works. Every week we get together. I'm going to play some evidence that I have picked up over the course of my time doing paranormal investigations. Also, in theory, if things worked out accordingly, I would also be playing, I just got to say, first of all, that's not what I wanted to have up there. I just want to say thank you, Sandy. That's very kind of you to say. It's really fun to do this. It's also a little bit, I don't want to say daunting. I don't want to make it sound really, really weird. But, you know, sometimes you're not quite sure what you're going to get or how people are going to react because, you know, I have a very short attention span. So if something's not working, for example, like we're not getting communication or something, my first instinct is to be like, oh, for God's sake, and, you know, break something. You know, so my whole thing is always a matter of I don't want to disappoint. And, you know, we have no control over what the spirits say. But what we're going to do tonight is I am going to play some evidence. If it was a perfect world, I'd play the evidence that we picked up from last week. The problem is, of course, is that sometimes it gets so busy that it's hard to actually listen back to the stuff that we recorded. And I need to do that at some point. But unfortunately, I didn't get to the evidence from last week. So I'm going to play some other stuff that I picked out. And the reason why I'm going to do that is tonight I'm going to focus on one of my hacked spirit boxes. I have like a billion of them. I have too many, one might say. No one would say that. I'm just kidding. But the thing is that I want to play some of the different ones, and if we get responses or stuff, you know, we'll see what happens. Before we get into all of this, there's a couple things I want to bring up, as I always do every week. First of all, I do a radio show every Wednesday on the KCOR Radio Digital Radio Network. That's www.kcorradio.com. And this week, I'm going to have on David Cook. He is a fellow paranormal investigator, also a fellow radio host on KCOR with the Ghostly Hour. And he is really a knowledgeable person. He lives in Essex in the UK, which is one of my favorite countries. I go over to the UK whenever I can. And I really just think that it's so much fun to talk with him. We don't always have the same opinion on how to do paranormal investigating, but that's okay. That's what this field is about. It's about being able to have different ideas, learn from each other, figure out what we're thinking for each other, and figure out how we can work together. So that's kind of what I like to do, and that's going to be on this Wednesday. That's on at 8 p.m. Central, so that's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's www.kcorradio.com. Please consider checking it out. Also, every week, I always want to give a shout out to Miss Ane, who does a live feed here every Tuesday night, and that is at 6 p.m. Arizona time. That's where she lives. 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. She does what we call one-question readings, and what that means is that simply you go to the broadcast and you have a question for her to answer, and she'll use the tarot card. She'll give you a really mini reading. all that she asks is that it's not political. Try to keep it a little bit light. You know, it's very difficult. I don't think everyone always understands that, but she does an amazing job. And also, she's available for private readings, and you can go to www.onae.org. So I would, if you're looking to get a reading, honestly, just reach out to her. Huh? Come on, let's just do that. All right, so what else do we have going on here? Got some folks saying hello. Hello, Becky. It's good to see you on here. Really appreciate you joining in tonight. Next week, if I can figure out my hotspot situation, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to. We might have to push it back a week or so. I should be doing this broadcast live from the Boyd House. The Boyd House has a background that we'll get into next week regarding hauntings and all that good stuff. And the point is for me to be out there and do an investigation out there and just kind of see what we can get out there. And I'm going to be all by my lonesome, and it's very scary. One thing I got to also mention too is that the Boyd House is open for investigations for overnights and stuff like that. I would highly recommend you get in touch and just at the email address at the bottom of the screen here, get in touch with them. Their prices are extremely reasonable, and that's my obelisk going off. And I would just say, get in touch with them and get something figured out. And I think you will have a great time there. I love these locations that are off the beaten track, so to speak, but they're very incredible, actually. So Becky has been there with their team, Northern Shadows Paranormal Research Team, which incidentally, my Florida water is from them. So thank you very much. And, you know, let's talk Spirit Box, right? First of all, tonight, my focus, whether we can understand it or not, we're going to kind of learn this together. My focus tonight is going to be on my what you call it, hacked Spirit Box. I've been using the SB7 Spirit Box for a long time on these live streams. I don't know how well we're going to be able to hear this while it's being done live. So if we're having trouble with it, then we'll go back to this. But just a quick understanding of what we're talking about here. What we have here is a mass-produced Spirit Box called the SB7. And so you can buy this on Amazon. You can buy this from wherever you want to buy this from. What you got here, though, is a what we call hack Spirit Box. This is a Sangene Spirit Box, and the Sangene here is a radio from the 1990s. It's just a radio, and what was done with this is that it's been opened up, it's been tinkered with. So when you're doing the scanning of radio stations on it, which is something you always do, normally what happens is that you know, it'll go through the stations. When it's been hacked, it stops at each station. Or sorry, no, it doesn't stop at each station. It keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So hopefully we get spirit interaction with it. I want to play some evidence that I got using this very same box, which I really like. The problem is I hardly ever hear it live. I have to go back and listen to it, especially on this box. And what you're going to hear is some stuff that I have picked up. Victoria, what is Florida water? You know, I don't know what's in it, but my understanding about the water itself, there's like patchouli oil and other stuff to it. You spray it on yourself, and it's kind of a cleanser, right? You're trying to cleanse away the spirits, or cleanse away at least the nasty ones. You like to have some spirits with you, but the problem is when you're doing what we're doing here, you want to be able to kind of cleanse yourself so that you don't have any spirits that you don't want staying with you, following you around. And you don't want that. That's the last thing that you want to see happen. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we go into the session itself. I want to start off with, I just noticed that one of the ones I wanted to play, I actually didn't even include in here. We'll do that next time. First of all, the very first night I got this session, or this box, was the first night I ever actually did a spirit box session in my own home. Prior to that, I had been doing it only in locations where we've been investigating. But the problem for me is I feel like I want to practice. I think practicing with these things is very important. So I practiced at home. And so one of the very first things I got was this very super friendly response from the hack spirit box. And I'm going to play it right now for you. So, once again, when we do these, when I play these, this is what I think they say. You might listen to it and you might be like, that sounds nothing like go away. To me, it sounds very much like go away. And it was like one of the first things I got on this thing. I'm like, well, that's rude. It's my house. I have the Ovilus 4 going, and I'll talk about that in a second. But right now the word fog came up, and I'm not quite sure why. So that was go away. The next one, like I said, I did this. This is probably in 2016 that I did these here with this box. And the next one is, once again, it's a Sand Gene. It was in my house, the same session. And my father had just passed away not too long beforehand. And so what I ended up getting was this very interesting little girl talking. And I'm going to play it, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'll probably play it again, because it actually happens really quickly, but it is definitely a little girl talking. So check this out.
Do you have anything to say to me that you would like? Do you have anything to say to me that you would like?
It goes quickly. I'm going to play it again.
Do you have anything to say to me that you would like? Do you have anything to say to me that you would like?
Your father wants. And of course, as you've been watching me for the number of years I've been doing this, before I got to Paranormal Warehouse or anything like that, you'll know that I talk over the ghosts all the time. I talk over spirits. It's kind of my thing, I guess. So who knows if there was more to this sentence, but it was a little girl saying, your father wants.
Do you have anything to say to me that you would like? Do you have anything to say to me that you would like?
Probably about a year ago, using this same box again. It might have even been at the Calumet that the little girl voice came back. And I never really understood what she said that time. This time for me, it was very clear. The next one, taking this box over to Hillside Cemetery. And over at Hillside, that's where my parents are buried. And so very grimly, every time I go and see them at the cemetery, I bring a spirit box with. And I brought the Sand Gene. This was back in May of 2018. I'm going to tell you what I hear. Now, like we always say, this isn't how you probably normally like to do it, but we don't want to be here all night anyway, right? So I believe what I think is really cool about this, I think it is a guy, like almost residual perhaps, a guy talking to like his dog. Because, I can imagine at Hillside, which had been around for a long time, that there is some like, that whether or not it's a cemetery or not, and it's very flat, that, some people go on there, will do their walks in there and whatnot. And, maybe it's some guy who brought his dog in. And so what you're going to hear is what I believe is a guy, and it's 3 pieces to make up a sentence, same voice throughout the entire thing, which is very important, okay? He says, oh boy, now come on, let's go. And to me, that sounds very much like someone going, come on, let's go. Come on, boy, let's go. That's what I'm thinking, okay? So check this out. I'm going to play it again because it happens so quickly. So that is what I think it's a great piece of evidence, to be honest. Once again, it's the same voice all throughout the whole thing. I think it's really outstanding. Now, this, of course, is over at the Soap Factory that I'm going to play now in August. Was that August of February of 2017? And it's just 2 spirits talking to each other through the Sand Gene. And one asks, one of them, and the other says, guess so. And then I picked up part of it. You'll hear in the recording. Check it out.
One of them. One of them.
One more time.
One of them. One of them.
So you got that. I think that's pretty cool, actually. Once again, same rules apply that using the SB7. You know, you're trying to get full words going over frequencies that are rapidly changing. The thing about a hacked radio, though, is that it's not changing as quickly as an SB7. So you're picking up a lot more of like the radio frequencies, you know, just radio stations. And that's what you got to be careful about. Though, and you know, this is something that's very debatable, I do feel like that it's very possible that spirit can navigate kind of what you're hearing sometimes in this. And that's to me very important, that, you know, maybe you're hearing something from the radio that spirit wanted you to hear to help make up a way that they want to talk to you. I don't know. That's just a theory that I have. The last piece I want to play is probably one of my favorite pieces of spirit box evidence that I've picked up. And the reason why I like it so much is that it's a very intelligent response to what I'm talking about. It also shows that what a bunch of us had seen in our not even our peripheral, but ran between us, was real, and that it not only spirit answered my question, but also acknowledged what we saw. And so what happened is that we are at the soap factory, which I don't think anyone can really get in anymore. It was refurbished over in St. Anthony, Maine, where all these amazing old buildings existed. And the soap factory was an art installation. And this art installation was known for being very haunted. And for those in Minnesota know the soap factory used to be the home of the haunted basement every October, September and October. And even when there isn't a haunted basement, this place was pretty legit. And one of the nights that we did some interviews for the Minnesota GhostBox web series, we were in the basement after we shot, and we're standing around, and just in a circle in the basement in the dark. And we had spirit box going, and you know, just like, oh, I think something ran between our legs, something low, something dark, and it was, you know, we all thought that it was a dog. And I asked the question, is somebody's dog here? And the response that I believe I got, and every time I listen to it, I try to really analyze it more and more. I believe the response that we got from this person, once again, the same voice, a full sentence going through multiple frequencies, is that's my dog. So I want you to take a listen and see what you think.
Is somebody's dog here? Is somebody's dog here?
One more time.
Is somebody's dog here? Is somebody's dog here?
So, you know, however you want to take that, that is what I think is all of, you know, those wonderful, wonderful pieces of evidence. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going through. I'm just kind of quickly going through some comments here real fast. Everyone who's joining me, thank you very much for doing so. I really do appreciate it. And these are the type of comments, of course, that I want to, you know, see the most, is people in agreement with me. You know, that's the thing, though, about it. And of course, I'm just kidding. But the thing about it, though, is that we all have this sort of like thing that we don't always hear the same thing, and that's okay. You know, the thing that I run into in the paranormal field, not with my immediate friends or anything, the more of what I'm seeing online, is if people don't agree with what you're putting out there as evidence, it's not so much like, oh, I don't hear it, or, you know, explain a little bit more why you think this is what it is. It becomes more of like anger and just like the stupid and all this stuff. It's like, I just don't understand why people can't get along. So that's why, you know, it's important that if we are if we are, to kind of be together, figuring out, paranormal and spirit talk and all that, we got to make sure that we are, being civil about it. And thank you all very much for the kind words about that. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, when we do this stuff live, we're not always hearing that right away, and we have to go back and listen to it. So, sometimes that's the part that's a little unfortunate in a sense, but it's also fun because this is all of us talking at once. And so, yeah, actually, Amanda, I'm going to get to that here very quickly, that we're going to talk about. And yes, Rachel, I mean, that's just it. It's like, to me, I'm hearing the words very distinctly, but that's what you have to do, right? Is try to figure out like what's being said here and what's happening, to get those different words and whatnot. And I'll be very honest. Sometimes I will be listening to I will be listening back to my stuff, and after I thought for years it said one thing, I'll listen back and be like, no, it really doesn't. That's just kind of how it works. The equipment tonight. First of all, I have a second camera set up, and this is in the stairwell of my house. As you can see, the presentation is pretty legit, with having that TV tray as everything. I mean, it kind of looks like if I were to have a garage sale of paranormal equipment, it might look a little bit like this. But the point of how I set it up like this is in my house, in this stairwell. When I'm there, I'm often feeling and sensing somebody there. And to be honest, I actually sense my dad there on a number of occasions. And I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure if it's really him. But the point of this is that I wanted to set up an area, and we try to figure out if we can get any kind of spirit responses. So I'm hoping that, if there is something in the stairs there, that you can go by there, make the REM pod go off, that antenna, just touch that antenna, just go by the flashlight, see if it goes off or whatnot. Normally I don't set up this way. Normally I'm set up a little bit differently. So what I also have here is I have my Ovilus 4. Normally I have it set up in a different area, separate from me, because what I like to do is I like people to see what's coming through. But because of how I have the second camera set up, and I don't have the apparatus to set up my third or fourth yet, I wanted to have this with me because I always think it's very interesting if something comes through the Ovilus that is relevant to what we're talking about. So we have that. I have my spirit boxes. I got my pendulum, and I've been using pendulum more and more and more. And I'm gonna switch this out here real fast, because pendulum to me is a great way of how everything works. Before I get to that, I just saw William's thing. When you get a spirit box response, do you ever get other indicators like a flashlight going off or EMF spike or etc.? Absolutely, absolutely. And that is one of the things that I think all the paranormal investigators who's on listening and watching right now would agree 100%. That's what we want. Obviously, we want to identify who we're talking to, but if we can get validation from some other device, that to me is gold. And so a great example of it, I got two examples of it. There's a couple people on here right now, unless they decided they got bored and went away, and that's fair. A couple people on here who we went to a hotel in Wisconsin, and we were using a Ouija board, and we're getting responses, and we asked the spirit, do you want us to stop using the Ouija board? And about 3 devices went off at once in different parts of the bar that we're in, like one on the bar itself, one at the table with us, one somewhere else. They all went off at once. And that was fantastic. Another example, once again, is the Soap Factory. When I was making my web series there, I did 2 episodes. And on this Ovilus, on the Ovilus 4, I got the name Monica. And on the spirit box at the same time, I got Monica. The name came through in 2 different places. That's pretty neat. Obviously, another thing that I absolutely love is if I can get like a medium that picks up something and it comes through the spirit box. You know, if they pick it up first and then on the spirit box it comes through. Obviously, that's the kind of stuff that we absolutely love, right? Yeah, and it's just stuff that we just want 100%. So first of all, with pendulum, you know, what I like to do is, and I don't know how well you can see this. Unfortunately, I'm kind of dark, and the pendulum itself is black onyx. So maybe that might help a little bit more. Meanwhile, an amateur hour. Show me yes, please. So it's going to me in a straight line. Normally I have it, and I'm moving right now. Okay, normally I have it a little bit set up a little bit differently. Show me yes, please. Show me no. Now it's moving in a circular manner, okay? And I might actually switch out pendulums because this is a really good one. It's working really well, but I don't know how well you can see it. So let's try this. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. We'll just do this a little bit more. Any spirits in here with me right now? So it's giving me yes. Do I know you? Okay, now it's circular. It's moving circular. We have a device to be able to speak to you in a way that we can hear your voice. Would you talk to us tonight? So it's going a different direction than that we established as yes and no. It's going back and forth the other direction. When it was no, it was circular. When it was yes, it was going back and forth towards and away from me. I'm sorry, will you talk to us tonight? Can you give me a yes or no, please? Because I do not understand what this is. Are there any spirits here that will talk to us tonight? Because this could also be a yes. Okay, it's moving a different direction. Well, it's going to be a fun night if they really don't want to talk to us. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for talking with us. Don't forget your please and thank yous. So upstairs, I have a flashlight, 2 K2s. I have a REM pod. Down here, I have my spirit box, my Sanjean spirit box, my hack. I'm going to plug into the box right now, my speaker. And then I have my recording device. Right? Hey, Lisa, how are you doing? Well, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Have you had anyone pick up on your dad where you do? Oh, all the time, especially mediums, psychic mediums. In fact, I had Ane, who I talked about her shows on Tuesday. She had picked up, my mom had 2 miscarriages, 2 in a row. And so they only wanted 2 children. So if they had, so when if they would have had those two children, my sister and I would not have been born. So she had two miscarriages, but she had told me, Anne, that is, had told me that because my mom had no idea if they were, boys or girls, but Anne had told me that they're two girls, and they would have been my sisters, and that they are waiting to come back into the family at some point down the line, so to speak. But the theory is that one piece of evidence that I did play, which is this one.
Do you have anything to say to me that you'd like? Do you have anything to say to me that you'd like?
The theory is that could possibly be one of them, which is pretty crazy if that's the case. So yeah, that's stuff that we, can I prove all that? No. But the thing is like, we are really, really, excited by the possibilities of what who these spirits are that we're talking to. So, I'm going to set up the record. Test. So Spirit Box session, May 17th. It's currently 9:37 p.m. We are going to, I'm just sorry. This is the good part about this for me and the bad part. I see a comment come in and I'm immediately derailed. I do apologize. And then William asks, maybe this is a silly question, but have you ever mixed an Ouija board and investigation? Like you have stuff on TV and tray in the hallway. You mean this quality setup? Ever thought of putting the stuff on Ouija board? I do have over to my right at the moment a Ouija board that over to my right, Ouija board that is 100 years old, over 100 years old, that currently is on lockdown. I had used it with somebody on Halloween, and stuff started coming through that I was not happy about, and we definitely had to kind of lock things down here for a while. And so it's still sitting here next to me on lockdown. And, that's just because right now I just don't want to deal with it. I've been using more of like a spirit board instead of a Ouija board myself. Starting to get to the point, and a lot of people can do a good job with it. I necessarily am slow learner when it comes to stuff, but I'm finally getting the planchette to kind of move with me a little bit. It's really weird because I just feel like that maybe it's me moving it myself, and I'm just not sure. I just got to trust myself a little bit. But I certainly, yes, we've gone to investigations, and I know like Becky, who's on here right now with Northern Shadows Paranormal Research Team, they use Ouija board all the time to help get information and then get validation through other devices. I hold the stance that Ouija boards are just like any other piece of equipment. That just because you use it doesn't mean evil things are going to come through it. You just got to be careful. Hey, Todd, how are you doing? Let's see. Let's see here. Very much, this is very much an accepted thought that those souls aren't gone, that they get reintroduced at the right time in the family. Absolutely, Rachel. I did talk over it. As I said, that's kind of what I'm known for, is talking over when spirits are talking, and it's very frustrating. So why don't we get to the spirit box? I'm just reaching out to spirits right now. And I need you all to tell me whether or not that this is loud enough, and whether or not you can hear it. If we can't hear it, if we can't make it work, I'm going to go back to the SB7. If I'm not getting responses that I like, I'm going to go back to the SB7. But let's give it a try for a while and see if anything comes through that sounds familiar to us. Spirits, and also I hope you all bubbled up. Spirits, if you are able to, can you please talk with us and have communication with us. We have people here who may want to hear from you if you're family. And we really want to be able to have a conversation with you tonight. You may not have heard your own voice in many years. Please, talk to me here in my stairwell. I have equipment set up that if you want to be heard and seen, that's the place to go, because you go near it, stuff starts going off. I also have a device over here that if you just want to put through some words or anything, you are more than welcome to do so. So let's see here. So it's radio playing right now, right? I'm gonna turn it up. Hey, Stacy, how are you doing? Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining me tonight. We're gonna do a reverse sweep on this. This is real radio, real hack spirit box. It's moving very slowly, okay? Is there anyone here that wants to talk to us tonight? I thought I heard a no, which would make sense with the pendulum saying no one wants to talk to us. Also heard like right now. Something about my confidence. Can you tell me how many of you are in this area right now? How many spirits, please? Can I get a number? I don't know if you all heard that. And that is what I run into every week. Can you hear this all right? Can you hear this? Or do you need me to turn it up? I could do this. I'm asking any spirits who want to talk to us to please do so through here. Tony, you're not able to hear it? Turn it up. Okay, that's turning it down. How's that?
Storage. And with the cremation. All right.
Well. What do we got here? Hello, Tom. Good to see you. Good to see you on here. Yes. It's like super loud in here, and I get this comment. Sorry, better. I just get better. Well, we got a couple Lisas in here. Is someone trying to talk to Lisa? I don't know. I thought I heard Tom. Gary? Good to see you here, Meg. Cheryl? Are you Cheryl or are you looking for a Cheryl? Lisa, are you hearing your mom, or are you hearing your own mom? I heard Tom also. I heard it very long, like Tom. Or are you guys thinking it's mom? To me, it sounded like Tom. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, but that's the thing about this. We don't know, right? We're all trying to figure it out, and I love that you all are taking part in this. All right. I hope you don't mind me doing this, Tom. Is Tom's mom here? If that's the case, someone said you're at home. It sounded like you're at home. I am at home. You're all at home. Well, that's what I was wondering about, to be honest. Tom, I hope you don't mind us turning all this on you. People who? I'm getting the chills. Holy cow. Do you hear how so much is coming through that you don't know if it's radio or... I'm feeling that too. I am feeling that too. I know you're saying it's cool that I'm doing it, but it's also cool that it's happening. For those who care, I've known Tom since kindergarten. He also was at the wedding of my failed marriage, so that was fun. I don't blame you, Tom. Tom's mom, could you say hello to us, please? Oh God, I am recording. Sound like it again. I don't dare turn it any louder. And that's how things end. All right. The trouble is, it's on my Bluetooth, it's connected to my phone. So when I get a message, and because I'm so darn popular, I've been getting a lot of messages tonight. Oh. Your cousin. What's that? Through the door. You did. Get out. She's not. Who else is here? Who else is here? Can I get other names, please? thought I heard Daniel. Daniel or Danielle? I heard that too. The problem is I'm not sure if that's radio or not. Here's the I thought I heard Nancy too, to be honest. Yeah, definitely. Through the door is what I definitely heard myself. Just talked over someone. I have a lot of people watching tonight who have had loved ones who have passed. Can you call out names of loved ones that you know are paying attention right now?
So as you can.
Show us you can.
Completely.
Heard completely, but that's clearly radio. Rule out. Sandy, are these names you're hearing? Look at that.
Yes, that.
So we're getting. Is Brian Jefferson Sanchez? Are you able to talk to us? Lorena would like to get a sign from you. It's her birthday tomorrow. Can you say Lorena's name, please?
He's like, yeah.
Or say your name, Brian?
That's it.
Yeah, and the sad thing about it, Lori, is that it's super loud over here.
I don't.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Too much stress.
That was the response right there. You can know when there's a response versus radio sometimes. Hey, Holly, how are you doing? We never did connect, did we?
Look at you.
I'm just reading your comment. No, the device is only going to be picking up this. I mean, it might actually to some degree, but it's really just picking up the radio frequencies wherever close to the antenna is and whatnot. One of the things that's very interesting for paranormal investigators is when they are on investigation, a lot of us will have walkie-talkies to communicate if we're in a big area or something, and sometimes we'll pick up spirit communication in our walkie-talkies. Nothing happening there at all. I'm just looking to see. I have a meter on top here, and it's so loud over here that it's just bouncing off. I'm gonna have to do something about that when I go listen to it later. Tony, Betty, are you here? Tony's mom? Thought I heard yes. I really did. Like a voice go yes. Hello? Did you hear that? Betty? Betty, are you there? Could you just say your name?
Is it real?
Let me see. Of course, this is one that really resonates with me, animals in general. Does anyone on my side tell me if my cat Knight is deceased or if he's bunking with another family?
Like you.
Something moved over here, okay? This is where the Ouija board is. And something dark, and I don't mean dark as an evil, just a shadowy sort of thing, just moved to my right. Can you tell me what that was, please? Giving me energy. Anything, yes. A hair standing up. Were you a person? Were you a person? Wow. I hope that's right, you know, because Tony, we want to do you right.
Listen.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you. We're getting stuff. Sometimes I just like to listen. Yeah, they were, and they were kind of back to back. There. Well, I think I've told you before that I always think I hear my name, whether I'm actually hearing it or not. It kind of seems very, on my end, very egotistical, I think, in some ways. About me. I'm glad that you're pointing it out. I just don't point it out because I feel like I'm egotistical when I do so. Like, oh, there's my name again. Oh, there I am again. Tell me about Sarah. Did we have a Sarah in here in the chat room? John? I thought I got John. Thank you, Sue. I hope you're well. Haven't talked to you in a long time. You get songs. Who's ever here for John? Thought I heard it again. Who's ever here for John, could you give us your name, please? Not like I heard like Dave, bro. Either said the disease or the deceased. Well, see, I thought I heard Dave, bro. Dave, bro. You know, I've always been against slang like that, though.
So, take it off. Yeah, so.
Who's ever mentioned John's name through this box? Spirit speaking with us. Were you in John's house last week? Were you in John's house last week? Can you give me a yes or no, please? On my show. I just talked over. How is that? How's that? An area I always feel so much, and absolutely nothing's happening there. Spirit? Could you turn on the flashlight, please, on the stairwell? Or touch the antenna?
See. No.
It's been a long time. Becky, did you hear someone say on here crossover?
There it is.
I'm just saying, Dad. Is there a spirit that needs to be crossed over? All right. All right. Any spirit. Okay, so what we do in these situations, is that, yeah, John, did you cross someone over last week? All right, this is what we're going to do. Any spirit that is here right now, anyone that's around here, right, who wants to be crossed over, who needs our help, we can do that right now for you, okay? That's good. And we're going to do it again right now, okay? This is where I need everybody who's watching. I need your help right now. To join in, all you need to do is put your energy out there in terms of a positive crossover for all the spirits who want it. For all the spirits who want to cross over, can you just envision a light? A door is open for you, and you can cross through it. Okay? Just open it up. It's always been there. You just need to, literally, as they always say, you just need to go to the light. We have a lot of people here who want you to do so, okay? Right now, exactly. And there'll be somebody there to take care of you once you cross over. Do you see the light? Do you see it? All you need to do now is cross over. Someone is there for you. Did you do it? Did you make it safely? Did it? I think someone just said, did it. There's a lot of people who want you all to cross over. Okay? Them. We all support you. Doesn't matter what you did. Just do it, okay? All spirits make it over there? Good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Do you see angels over there? Yes. We do. Yep, heard that too. Something about the light? I think it saw the light. How cool, huh? How nice. I think that's what we exist to work in the paranormal for, is to help spirits, as well as help people. I think people forget that spirits need help too. Heard kind of a scream in there. A man kind of, oh! It's possible that some of these spirits crossing over felt like that they had done something wrong, and that's why they didn't cross over, and then forgot how. It might be repentance, you know. I thought I heard male, to be honest. Absolutely. There's a ton of reasons why spirits cross over or not. Absolutely. Cool. Very cool. So like, lucky here, I'm here. Spirits, do you have anything else to say to us tonight?
This means now.
With me?
That's it.
All right, Spirit. If you have nothing else to say, we're going to turn this off. Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to shut this down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's that. I think this might be the longest I've ever used the Sangene, to be very honest, because normally I'll use the SB7 because it's easier for me to understand. But let me ask you this. For those who have been part of these before, how was listening to the hacked Spirit Box different to listening to the SB7? Was it cleaner? Did it sound clearer, or did you like how the SB7 sounded in terms of, and I don't even mean in terms of like if you're on an investigation, but in terms of hearing it on this broadcast? Because the one thing that, you know, I want to do is I don't want people to be like, I can't hear anything, you know, and I'm just over here talking to myself. Though there's been a lot of people interjecting tonight, which has been a lot of fun. Heard something over there. That's fun. So clearer, huh? It's interesting. Okay. Well, it certainly doesn't have that white noise, which actually I use to my benefit, to be very honest. When I'm listening, I can hear it. You know, the other question that I was thinking of, good. It's tough, isn't it? Sometimes, Sue, in terms of being able to hear something clear and whatnot. That's interesting to know. You know, it'd be interesting also when we listen back to the recording, how much clearer it is, or if we're picking up the stuff that we're hearing tonight. I hope so, because we heard some really cool things tonight too. And we're going to go back and forth. I have a lot of spirit boxes I want to try. And, if you're all patient with me, we can go through a ton of different ones every week and just see what we're picking up. Oh, and you're welcome. I don't know if we made any difference, but someone said that they heard Betty. So I'm hoping that you're able to get what you wanted from it. I mean, that's very important to, I think, all of us. The question also I wanted to quickly ask before we are done here tonight is, I think it's very clear that I think there's two things at work here when we're using equipment. I think it's the equipment itself, and it would pick up, and it's also how, us being the transmitter or the feed coming in, and what we're bringing here. I firmly believe that I'm helping bringing in spirit communication, and it's coming through me, and it's a conduit for what's coming out of the box. And I don't mean only me. I mean anybody when they're using the equipment, any equipment. It's interesting that the obelisk has not gone off since we started. The last word that's come up in there is fog, and that was before we turned on the device. So I'm not, it's really interesting. And then, of course, to my makeshift, really high quality setup over here, there really hasn't been anything. When I say really, I mean there hasn't been anything that has happened that is of note. And you got to wonder if it works better when it's nearer to a person. But if I'm going to the Boyd House, whether it's next weekend or coming up soon, you got to wonder if, because that place is so active, if it doesn't really matter where I put a device for people to see it. So, that's what part of it is. I wish I could come here and say that I know exactly where stuff is going to go and it's going to work wonderfully. What happens is that we just kind of play around with it. We see what works, and every week we just see if something works better than the other and go from there. Just as a reminder to everybody, and there's one person on here who left a comment on my my page this week about stuff happening after one of these sessions. Just gonna look. Nope, not at least as far as I can see. I wish, I really do wish. But someone had mentioned that one last time that they had watched one of these that I'd done, that stuff started kind of happening in their house. And I just want to remind people, if stuff is starting to happen, please reach out to me. Please, I can help in some way. Also make sure that when you're done with this session, that you tell the spirits that you are done with this session. They are not allowed to follow you or be a part of your life anymore. The obvious exception to that is going to be loved ones, people that you want to talk to, that they're going to be with you. You're not shooing them away, but what you want is the ones that you don't know what their intention is. They were just talking through the spirit box. You don't want anything else. So spirits, we are done with the session. Please do not follow me. Our communication loop is now closed. So that's just, something that you want to keep talking about and keep doing, okay? Because you do not want them there. If you are running into a situation where you feel like that something isn't right after you had, took part in this session, as always, just reach out to me. You can do so through Facebook. My name, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me, friend me, whatever you want to do. And if something's going on, let me know. If you have a need for some sort of paranormal investigation help or consultation, I'm always here to listen, talk, bounce ideas off. If something's happened in your home, or if you're an investigator and you need help, I help out teams around here in Minnesota quite a bit, whether they like it or not. And, I'm always here to listen. Obviously, never charge for anything. And if you're not in Minnesota, but you have an interesting case, I might come out and help if you're looking for that. You can reach me also at greg@mn-ghostbox.org. That's my email address for GhostBox. you can go to my Minnesota Ghost Box website, where I have a number of pieces of evidence that I've captured, some of my radio show episodes from a lot of different places I've done radio, as well as my what I call my audio investigations, which was the first set of investigations I've done, which is kind of a podcast that's very reminiscent of This American Life in some ways. Check it out; it's very interesting. Other than that, let's see, anything else we want to talk about? Once again, just a reminder that Tuesday, please check out Ane for one question readings. For those of you who had questions about spirits, if I could reach out to them, we tried to for a couple, but reach out to Ane if you want help like that. She that's what she does, and she does it incredibly well. Next week, I'll either be back here in St. Michael, or I'll be at the Boyd House in Boyd, Minnesota. As I said before, they are open for investigations for overnights. Get in touch with them. They'd love to hear from you, and just talk to them. They're amazing. So we got that. Otherwise, just looking at the last set of comments here, I'm glad to hear you guys are enjoying this, because I'm kind of in a bubble over here, so I'm not sure if you all are listening or not, or you hear, but the participation has been a lot of fun. So I'll be back next week somewhere, and let's do this again, and we'll see what kind of spirit box we use, or if you have any suggestions, just send them my way. Thank you all very much for watching tonight. This is GhostBox Live on Paranormal Warehouse, and I will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Good night.